So I had this job one time, a long time ago, at a plastic bucket factory. So I stood out there on the concrete floor, and there was a big stack of white plastic buckets. It was my job to separate the buckets. So you grab the bucket handle and you jiggle the handle a little bit because there's this pocket of air at the bottom of the bucket that's standing inside of the bucket that it's standing inside of, and that little pocket of air is like this big, but you have to jiggle the handle like this to pull the bucket out, and it's tiresome. It's like your arms getting pulled on 4,000 times during the night. 10-hour night shift separating buckets. And one day the boss sees me, right? He takes me in his office and he says, Peter, I notice you're getting stiff and tired. Your muscles are sore, and I got a solution for that. Eh? I was like, oh yeah, really? What? So he goes to the fridge. He takes out a Coors Light, and then he pops these pills out. And I'm looking at him and I says, you know what those pills are, man? That's like opioids, That's like opioids, man. They're oxycodone. They found out that stuff's highly addictive, Start taking those pills and you never want to stop. He's like, well, you just just take some 2-oxycodone and you drink some Coors Light, and then you're good to go. You can work, your arms won't be sore, your legs won't be sore, your muscles won't be sore. It's no big deal. It's no big deal, Peter. I was like, okay, so you know this job is not going to work out when you gotta take oxycodone and drink Coors Light to make your boss happy, right? He's a hilarious guy. So I says to him, well, you think are you addicted to these things? These pills? It's like an opioid. He's like, well, I don't know. I take them every day. So I guess I'd have to stop taking them every day to find out, eh? But I take them every day. I'm like, well, that sounds like you're hooked then, It's like, oh, I don't know. My wife likes me better now. And my marriage is happier and I feel pretty good. I'm like, your wife likes you better. He's like, oh yeah, I don't get angry at her anymore. I'm just mellow, and her voice doesn't make my head hurt anymore. I was like, well, you don't have to tell me, but are you addicted to something else? Anything else, And he looks around like someone's going to see him. He says, Sourpuss. I'm addicted to Sourpuss, Peter. I'm like, Sourpuss? What's that? That sounds like a jelly candy that's coated with sugar or something. So he opens up the fridge. I look in there, and there's a whole bunch of purple bottles that say Sourpuss on it. I'm thinking what is that? Sourpuss? Sounds like something that 18-year-old girls who like Justin Bieber would drink, No offense, man. I'm not, And he's like, no, that's okay, man. That's okay, Peter. Yeah. I first got addicted to Sourpuss. I was in the kitchen and I had a sip. I was drinking Sourpuss ever since. So one day my wife's coming home and I wanted to hide this from her. So I put it in the dishwasher. And then I shut it, And I said, hey, I'm just washing some dishes. And so she was suspicious already, what's going on? He's being useful. What's going on? So then I took the bottle out of the dishwasher when the dishes were done, and I took a sip, and it was hot Sourpuss. I just spit it right back out in the machine, and then I had to, it was Sourpuss everywhere. So I had to shut the door and then make the thing at the bottom spin around, and I did them for another round, Peter. So then I was like, hey, I don't know why these dishes are taking so long. I was like, wow, that's quite a story, sir. He's like, I know you're not into drugs, right, Peter? I heard you're religious or something. Pentecostal or something, eh? You do that healing hand thing or something, eh? I was like, well, no, actually, I don't I said, well, what are you? What are you? I hear you're a religious guy or something. Like, well, I'm kind of like I'm like a Mennonite who just scarfed down an energy drink in 1 minute flat, you know. Like, yeah, you know, I don't want to, you know, we all have our own beliefs, man, right? So he's thinking about these things, and you know, he just like to talk, right? So he's a short guy. He sits down on the edge of his desk. He takes out a cigarette and he's smoking. And you know, some guys, when they're like having a cigarette, somehow they become master storytellers for some reason, you know. So he's telling me a story, and he's tapping me with the back of his hand on my arm. Because like I broke eye contact with the guy for 5 seconds or something, right? And there's people who are like, whoa, you broke eye contact with me for 5 seconds. I'm so starved for attention that I'll tap you on the arm with the back of my hand. And I'm thinking like, I didn't say it, but I'm thinking like, what? I'm 2 feet away from you. You don't have to tap me just because I broke eye contact. I can see your nose hairs. I can smell your breath, man. You don't have to tap me. He's like, oh, well, do you believe in miracles and all that stuff? I was like, well, I guess. I mean, I do. And then I said, okay, I'll tell you the story, okay? So I'm walking down the street. This guy walks up to me and he says to me, hey, how would you like to go to a church where miracles happen every day? And I was like, what? I don't know. I think that's a bit too much for me. That's too much. That's too often, you know? You see a miracle once in your life, and you're never the same after. If I saw a miracle every single day, I mean, why would I even go to work anymore? I'd be like waiting for the miracle to happen in my bank account or something. And, you know, like I've read books by guys who are like that. They're just like, send me $10,000 and you'll be blessed. That's your seed of faith being planted. Well, you'll get 100 times full blessing. Just send me the $10,000. That's how it works. You put your seed faith, you plant it, you make your faith work, and then you get 100 times fold. So he was just laughing. He was like, holy cow, you don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I said, no, that's what I'm telling you. I don't believe in that kind of stuff, you know. But like, I believe in miracles, man. But it's kind of like Bigfoot, you know. Like, let's say you live right on the edge of a big forest, right? And you never seen Bigfoot. But you know, Joey and Samantha and Johnny and Fred, they all saw it and they testify to you and they say, you know, there's something out there in the woods. And maybe you never saw it, but other people saw it. So miracles, maybe they're like that, you know. You never seen one, but that doesn't mean that they're not out there, you know. But you just can't believe scam artists and stuff like that. There's, you know, lots of scam artists out there. It's always like having a cigarette, you know. You're like, oh, I'm thinking I got to quit smoking. I'm like, oh, well, if you're going to quit, you got to quit. You can't like cut down because then you're just sucking them like twice as hard to get more nicotine out of it, you know. You like cut down, you're smoking half as many, but you're smoking them twice as hard, you know. Hey, he's laughing again, you know. So I says, well, did your wife ever find out that I'm smoking sourpuss? I was like, you mean drinking sourpuss, right? So yeah, drinking sourpuss. And I was like, well, are you sure you're not like doing something else? Like, what do you mean smoking sourpuss, huh? Ha, just kidding, I says to him. He's laughing. He's like, well, you know, my wife, she's happy. She's good. I love my wife, you know. I love my wife. She works for Lilydale. She stuffs turkeys at the turkey processing plant, you know. She stuffed turkeys for 20 years, and now she's got a job where people phone in. Like, well, what do they say? He says, well, you know, this is what happens, eh? Like, you get a turkey, and then you phone her up and you say stuff like, where's my giblets? I got a turkey, where's my giblets? And so she's on the phone and she's like, well, sir, I've been stuffing turkeys for 20 years, so What you got to do is just stick your hand up the turkey further. Yeah, I think you're just not putting your hand up the turkey far enough. No, I'm not saying you're a liar. Just, you got to put your hand up the turkey further. I've been stuffing turkeys for 20 years, so I know where your giblets are. And then she hangs up on them, and they still buy stuff. You still buy turkeys. Once you start buying turkeys, you're always going to buy another turkey. And they find their giblets, I think, I was like, whoa, this conversation is it's awesome, but don't you think I got to go back out to work? And he says, okay, Peter, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Are you going to do what? He says, I'm going to give you the job in the paint shop, okay? No more pulling buckets apart for you. You're a heck of a worker. You're a heck of a worker. And I just don't want to lose you, so I'm going to give you the job in the paint shop. So you just put the plastic buckets on the spinning doily, and you put the stencil on, and the machine sprays red, and then the bucket's got a label. So you couple days, different labels, and everybody's happy. Yeah? So I said, okay, sounds good. But, I only lasted at that job for about a week. Because I had another job that was full-time, If I have an addiction, it's working and reading books. And I tell you, if that's what you're into, you can't go wrong. Never go wrong. That's, I didn't take the oxycodone, no.